Yeah, what's good? What's good? What's good? Yeah, we want to start off by doing, giving all presents to the Most High, and we do so in His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ, right? I know y'all see the topic, the Black Police. We can't get no release, right? I mean, 'cause a lot of times our people, they have this fantasy where they think they can join into their police force or their government agencies and think they like shaft or something and they can change it from the inside. A lot of our people join these police forces, thinking they can change stuff, but then they be the ones that end up getting changed. Because we think the system is broken. The system is not broke, it's working exactly how they want it to work. All right. That's how it's going. It's going exactly how they want it to go. It's just that we think that that we can actually change things. You can't. The police system is a well-oiled machine that's been going on for hundreds of years since the plantation days, and you just can't just think you're just gonna just come into uh something like that and just start changing things around and something that's been working for their benefit for hundreds of years, right? The police is the vanguards of oppression, right? That's what they are. They the ones that perpetuate the oppression that is coming from up top. They enforce the oppression, if you may, right? So, like I said, so like our people, man, they get into these little things, and they just maybe sometimes they do got a good heart, to try to want to change the community. But like I said, you get up in there and it turn you trying to turn the system, and the system end up turning you, right? And that's how it goes down for the most part. Then if the system don't turn you, then they end up firing you or they ostracize you, you know, to the point where you probably just quit or whatever the case may be, right? So what we're gonna get into like just a few little just see a few little get a little understanding on this, right? A few little scriptures or whatever, right? And to see how we're supposed to treat each other. If you're going to be working with the enemy, working in their militia, working in a police force, you even though you still required to treat your people a certain type of way. And this is what a lot of times our people don't understand because, like I said, they join these organizations, and then they perpetuate the same thing that the oppressor is doing. You know, and and like I said, and they just go along with the get along, right? So I mean, so let's check this out, right? So now this is Jeremiah 22:3. It says, "Thus said Yahweh, execute ye judgment and righteousness." So you're supposed to, if you're gonna be serving justice and judgment, you execute it in righteousness. What those five black police officers did to that man was not righteousness. They was executing in wickedness and how the oppressor trained them to act, right? And it says, "Execute ye judgment and righteousness and deliver the spoil out of the hands of the oppressor." So it's saying deliver the people that's being robbed and taken advantage of out of the hands of the oppressor. But like I said, a lot of times our people join these forces and they end up perpetuating the same behavior that the oppressor put on the people. So it says, "And deliver the spoil out of the hands of the oppressor and do no wrong." So that's when you join these police forces, you know, that's why you run to a black cop in a traffic stop or something, and and you see that he might be going extra hard or whatever, right? because he's trying to oppress his white officers that he worked with. But it's telling you, it says, do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger. Meaning, as a black officer, you pull up on somebody, you know, y'all brothers, cause y'all, from the same nation, but he's a stranger because you probably don't know him. It says, do no violence to the stranger. So you're not just supposed to just be roughing your people up for no reason, even if you do got that badge on. It says, do no violence to the stranger and the fatherless nor the widow. So, like I said, they take advantage of our people because of the economic woes that our people go through, the poverty. So they think that we, are easy victims. That's why they do those things. But it tells you, do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow. Neither shed innocent blood in this place. So that's a job of a black police officer, right there, to protect his people. Like you got whenever you see like you know in Chinatown or something like that, they have Chinese cops policing their neighborhoods. They might have a white officer, but they have a Chinese cop with that white officer to be a vanguard to make sure that white officer is not asserting his authority more than he has to on their Chinese brothers and sisters, right? So, but on the flip side, our black people join these forces and they don't share the same sentiments. They join in with the oppression of the white man. But you have these other nations that will, stand up for their people when they in these positions. That's why too, like you go to these certain Jewish neighborhoods, they police themselves. They got their own police force, right? So it says, do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. And that's what happens all the time when they share killers out in the streets. Uh, they're shedding innocent blood, and like I said, and they be held not guilty a lot of times when they go to these court cases. You know, and and we got to understand like how to treat each other, and we don't, not supposed to, no matter what position of power you got, you're not supposed to just misuse your people like that. And but like I said, a lot of times these people join these police forces thinking that they going to change some stuff, but then they end up getting changed in the process, right? So let's jump down to 17 real quick. It says, "But thy eyes and thy heart are not, but for thy covetousness, and for to shed innocent blood, for oppression and and for violence to do it, right? So, like I said, a lot of times, these people be uh, quick to shed our blood for the sake of impressing a supervisor. Trying to look good in front of the police force, right? And so they will assort, they more violence than they have to. They'll escalate situations more than they have to, right? And this is what we're dealing with as a people, you know. And you look at that black officer like, okay, yeah, it's a black officer, maybe I might be cool. But then at the same time, it's a gamble. It's like a 50-50. You don't know if you're gonna get that cool black officer, that just want to do his job and go home, or you get that officer that feel like he has something to prove. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to Isaiah 59 real quick. Because the Bible tells us how we're supposed to treat each other and how we're supposed to relate to each other, especially if we're in a position of power. And like I said, so and we got to understand these things. There's this Isaiah 59:6, right? It says, their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works are works of iniquity. So a lot of times these people, especially back in the day before the cameras and stuff, they had the body cameras and all that stuff, or people had the little camera phones where they can record stuff. They used to cover their iniquities. They used to cover that stuff up. You know what I'm saying? But the Bible says their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Meaning these people is gonna get exposed. And they're starting to get exposed. And people starting to, look at the police force and see exactly who they are. The vanguards of oppression, right? The ambassadors of oppression, right? And it says their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works, for their works are works of iniquity, and the acts of violence is in their hands. And that's what they do. The acts of violence is in their hands. When they cover out these, when they carry out these acts on our people, the acts of violence is in their hands. And you see it all the time. You can go to just type in police brutality, and you'll see a whole laundry list of how we been being treated, throughout the ages, right? So and that's documented with stuff that we can always see this stuff, and we already knew how these people was against us, way before camera phones and all that stuff got popular, and was carried around by the average person, right? We knew that, we didn't need no Rodney King video to know how the police was treating us, right? I learned at a very, very young age, how the police get down. Because I used to see it with my own eyes when I stayed on the dead end of Darrow, how they used to come through and just mess up everything for no apparent reason, right? So let's go to Ezekiel real quick. So like I said, we're just getting a few scriptures to understand like how the Bible tells us how we should treat each other. Because we got a lot of our people in the armed forces or in the police force and stuff. And like I said, and a lot of times they think they have to behave a certain type of way so they can get some type of recognition, but they don't understand that these are still your people at the end of the day, whether you got that badge on or not. These are still your people, and you required by God to treat them a certain type of way. So this is Ezekiel 7:11. And it reads, violence is risen up unto the rod of wickedness. And the rod of wickedness meaning their laws, you know, you know, that's what it's, talking about. So it says violence is risen up into the rod of wickedness, meaning their justice system, is full of wickedness and violence. We see how they, act. You can be recorded being murdered by the police, and there's a good chance that they're gonna be found not guilty. Because violence has risen up into the rod of their wickedness, meaning their judicial systems, their laws, the way they behave. None of them shall remain, their uh, nor of their multitude, nor any of their neither shall there be wailing for them. Meaning, it's gonna come a time where they're not gonna have any more power. They're gonna be taken out of power, and they're gonna be taken down, and nobody's gonna miss them. Because nobody loves being oppressed. Nobody, you know, for the most part, American citizens is not happy with this stuff. Because the Bible tells you that when a wicked bear rule, the people mourn. That's why you see so much hell going on and so much depression and all that stuff with our people and all that stuff. And even with their own people. You got white people going around talking about they feel oppressed by their government. Because that's just how wicked these people is. I was talking to this young lady like a while back and explaining to her how America is so wicked that they even oppress their own people. You know, so and that's what we don't understand. They don't care who they enslave. America has 25% of the world's population is in their prison systems, and guess what? Out of that 25% of the world population, 80% of them are Black and Hispanic people, right? Because because America is a plantation. It's a big giant plantation, and it tell you in the 13th Amendment that slavery is still legal if you commit a crime. That's why they can work you for like 20 something hours a day, paying you a 6.5 cent an hour, you know, and nobody say anything about it because slavery is still legal here in America, whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not, right? So it says, neither shall there be wailing for them. Like I said, so nobody's going to miss this place. Nobody's going to miss this system of oppression when it's gone. Especially the people that's being oppressed by it. Nobody's going to miss this place. So just go to Ezekiel 18:7 real quick. It says, and have not, this is Ezekiel 18:7, have not oppressed any, but have restored the debtors to his pledge. So that's how you're supposed to operate as a police officer, especially a black officer. You're supposed to not oppress any, but instead our people, they follow along with the program. Like I said, and I know it could be hard to. I mean, like I said, nobody. This is not Hollywood. You're not coming in there like Shaft and changing the whole system, the way everything works. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't Mr. Clark from Lean on Me coming in changing anything, because this how this stuff works. This is good business for them. Because America has prison for profits. So long as they, have people committing crimes or locking people up for crimes they say they committed, that's big business for these people. These jails and these prisons get paid lots of money to do what they do on the backside, right? So it says have not oppressed any, but have restored the debtors to his pledge, have spoiled none by violence. Meaning, you treat everybody with respect. You're not doing anything maliciously to hurt anybody, right? And it says, treat none by violence, has given his bread to the hungry, and has covered the naked with a garment, right? So, like I said, you're supposed to actually serve and protect, like how they motto was. I don't even know if they say that anymore. You're supposed to serve and protect, not you know, you know, execute violence uh and oppression on your people. You're supposed to actually have that economy, that love for your people, for you won't, go overboard and beat somebody to death like they did that man a few weeks ago, right? So we gotta understand how we're supposed to act as people. When it's concerning, how we deal with each other, right? And let's go to jump down to 16 real quick. It says neither have oppressed any, have not withhold the pledge, neither have spoiled by violence. Okay, I read that already. My bad. Let's go to 18. I'm sorry. Let's go to 18. For as his father, uh, for his father, because he's cruelly oppressed. As for his father, because he is cruelly oppressed. And that's what happened to our people. We're cruelly oppressed in this system, in this nation called America. It says, he is cruelly oppressed, spoiled his brother by violence. And that's what those five so-called black officers did. They spoiled their brother by violence. That was another black man they did that to. You know, um, a fellow black man, should I say, that they did that to. And it says he spoiled his brother. Says he spoiled his brother by violence and did that which is not good among his people. And that's why we talking about it right now. Because they did what is not good among their people. That's why, we looking at these people like, what the problem is. And like I said, I have my experiences with black cops. I'm pretty sure if you black in America, you have your experiences with black cops, and we see how they can behave. You know, um, so like I said, and a lot of times they do go overboard. You know, and so just get go to Amos real quick. And like I said, when we're going through the scriptures in the Bible, because like I said, because God tells us how we should behave with each other, especially if we're in position of power, and we can actually take a person's life or not. So it tells us how to behave with each other, right? So this Amos 3:10, right? And it says, "For they know not to do right, for they know not to do right," said Yahweh, who store up violence and robbery in their places. So that's what they do. They practice, violence. They practice how to rob the people and oppress the people. That's what they do when they be having their little police trainings and stuff like that. They practice on how to hurt the black and brown people. That's what they do. They target us. That's what they do. Um, I live in a so-called what they might call a white neighborhood or a mixed neighborhood, however you want to call it. But it's a lot of Eastern European people that stay in this neighborhood, right? And I noticed since I moved here, I noticed the difference of how the police over here. I mean, and honestly, I don't feel how I felt when I stayed in the town. It's a different atmosphere from the police. Now, true enough, I know that since I'm black out here, I stick out like a sore thumb, so I'm not slipping. I'm not thinking that everything is roses. I know how it can go down. But for the most part, I can see the difference. I can see how they act when it comes to like just basic traffic stuff, or or even just parking. Like like I said, I don't want to knock on wood, but like I said, the way certain things is like in Evanston, people cars would have been ticketed, towed, and everything. How it is, but here, like I said, see the same stuff, but I don't see no parking person coming through writing tickets, and sometimes people be parked bogus on the streets over here. So, like I said, I see the difference on how policing goes in these neighborhoods. So it says, "For they do not do right," said the Lord, "who store up violence and robbery in their places." So, like I said, they store up this mess. They teach this stuff. This is part of their fabric, their DNA, and their police forces. you know, and that's how it's passed down to our people because our people think they're gonna come into the police force and just change everything. Like I said, like they just got the power to just stop the machine from going in that direction that it has been going for many years, right? And it don't work like that. The machine will spit you out, chew you up, and spit you out before you even think you can change anything. And we see that happening all the time. So let's go to Matthew real quick. Matthew 11 and 12. So Matthew 11 and 12 says, "And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence." So what is this kingdom of heaven suffering violence? Because, I hope y'all don't think that the heaven where God resides at is suffering violence, right? And the kingdom of heaven is us, his people, the Israelites, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. We are the kingdom of heaven. We are the people. But remember, if you've been following along, the kingdom of heaven means government, rulership, dominion. And in this context, the kingdom of heaven is the Israelites. We are that government. You know, that's to come on this world. Right now, we suffering through this white supremacist government. But our government is up next, like how they say in basketball. So it says, from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. So, like I said, they oppress us with violence, and they take us by force. That's how we got brought over here to America. They took us by force. That's how they treat us in the streets. They lock us up for no apparent reason. They take us by force. It can be a regular traffic stop, and they're gonna take our life by force just by reaching for our ID or insurance card or whatever the case may be. Or you didn't move fast enough how they think you should move. Then they would take it by force, like it says in the Bible. So we got to understand what's going on there. And it says, from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. So these people are the violent, who the Bible calls. So of course, if these people are the violent, the wicked, so how are you going to just come and just change them? God created them to be violent and wicked. In like it says in Isaiah, I believe. He created them to do these things. So we got to understand that, right? And so let's get Luke, right? Let's get with our dear brother John. Uh, let's get what our dear brother John told these people, right? So hold on one second. Let's get what our dear brother John said, right? So our dear brother John, all right, this is John, but it's in the book of Luke, 3:12, right? And it says, then came also Republicans to baptize and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? So these politicians is coming to asking John the Baptist, like, man, what should we do? And he said unto them, exact no more than which is appointed to you, right? So that's, with these people in power, that's what they're supposed to do. But you got these politicians, these people that has, authority, and they steal and they take and they rob, especially from our people, right? And it says, um, boom, boom, boom. Let's get a Proverbs, right? Let's get Proverbs 28 and 13, right? And it says, he that cover his sins should not prosper. So that's what a lot of times these people do. They cover their sins. They cover what they call it, covering up for each other, and they have a system where they have each other back when they doing wrong. It says, he that cover uh he that cover his sins should not prosper, but those who so confess and forsake them shall have mercy. But these people don't have that. They ain't trying to seek out that righteousness. They love the fact they have a system where they can hurt people, and then they have a cushion where they can be taken care of it if they do kill somebody. A lot of times these cops get paid leave. A lot of times, if you a police officer and you want a vacation, just kill a nigga. You get paid leave, right? And that's a lot of times what happened, right? So let's get a Micah 6 and 8 real quick. And it says, he have showed thee, O man, what is good. So God is trying to tell us what is good. He's trying to show us what is good. And what doeth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly and to love mercy and walk humbly with thy God. So that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to, do things justly, and be humble and show mercy. But these people didn't show mercy to this man. They beat this man to death. Then high five each other after they did it. Right. So then